everyone, welcome to my self-publishing journey slash self-publishing, traditional publishing. I'm going to be talking about publishing your debut novel. I have been trying to publish and work through the publishing process with my debut novel, Ghostcide. Here's a little sneak peek. I'm going to literally show you the cover. It's the working cover, so don't get too excited, but it's really cool. So stay tuned for that in the video. But yeah, today I'm going to be talking about my novel. I'm going to be talking about my process and updates about where I'm at with Ghostcide, since a lot of you have been asking what's happening. I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on traditional publishing versus traditional publishing. And then I'm going to talk to you about some tips for publishing that I've learnt the hard way, let's just say that. And yeah, talking about some tips that I really do encourage you guys to undertake, especially if you're writing your debut novel, which is so exciting, by the way. Congrats! So yeah, let's go ahead and get on to the video. But before we do, I do want to give a shout out to Spines, who I'm collaborating with in today's video. So today I'm very excited to be collaborating with Spines, of course, in today's video, who is completely the best fit for this particular topic of self-publishing. Spines offers amazing, seamless, and rapid self-publishing, helping writers like you publish their debut novel. I love Spines because they help all writers from any sort of age, any sort of demographic, have access to publishing. And especially if you're a beginner writer or debuting with your first book, Spines is all you need to publish your novel. Whether that be editing, proofreading, formatting, even cover design, which is really important, and of course distribution and the actual physical publishment of your books. I love their vision, and I'm literally going to get into it in today's video about democratizing the publishing process and the publishing market in general. So I love how their aim and their vision is to literally make literature and all forms of literature available to your readers. Spines literally is the dream for me. Spines also uses AI-powered technology to help streamline the publishing process. This ensures the quick turnaround for, let's say, for example, your editing, feedback, or the distribution of your physical books to your readers. Here's a really helpful chart for you guys to actually see the differences between Spines and traditional publishing and what that looks like. There's really great perks, of course, to Spines, as you can see in the graph. Most specifically, the publishing process time, which is really important, is 2 to 9 months for, you know, industry standard is crazy. That's so long, especially when you're so excited to actually publish, so you can have more control over your publishing time. Or for example, the royalties in the standard publishing industry standard is literally so terrible. I feel like 70%, barely any writers or authors actually get that much royalties and percentage over their profits of their own novels. So the fact that Spines has 70+% is amazing. So if you're sold on Spines, definitely go check out the link in the description to check them out and sign up for free, and you can let them help you through the publishing process, because it's really scary and Spine is here to help you guys. So definitely go check them out. Just check out their website. It's really beautiful and really helpful, especially if you're a beginner. So if you want some sort of means to start your self-publishing process, I really encourage you to check out Spines today. Anyways, let's go ahead and get on to today's video, and thank you so much, Spines, for sponsoring today's awesome video. Okay, let's get on to the video. I keep saying video, oh my gosh, shut up. Let's go on to the video, okay, so I'm going to be talking about my book and my novel, Ghostcide. So Ghostcide is my debut novel that I'm hoping to publish. I'm going to show you the cover because I can, and of course talk about the process a little bit. I have been filming like throughout this whole process, you know, my editing, my filming of like getting the book and opening it. I'll have the footage actually maybe insert it here so you guys can actually see it. Let's just put it here. What's with my hair? Guys, a little update. Anyways, this is the cover. I mean, it's not the actual cover, but I need the physical book in the video to show you like where I'm at in the process. So this is my debut novel, Ghostcide. It's a paranormal literary fiction, I would say. Here's the back. It looks really cool. And I'm going to read you the blurb to save me from stumbling over me trying to explain my debut novel. This isn't your ordinary ghost story. Red Gibson is a stubborn 17-year-old girl who was forced to move in with her long-lost grandmother in the outskirts of Alberta, in a suburb that can only be described as a desolate ghost town. When Red intentionally fails to attend school and make new friends, she lives her life in a room obsessed with filling up the pages of a small journal behind her bedroom door. That is until she meets 4 ghost boys, a gang of mysterious and reckless personalities who roam the suburbs, steal cars, rob small candy shops, and pull pranks on whomever they please. Initially, Red rejects their existence entirely, but as she falls into their carefree nature and ridiculous dares, Red becomes blind to the fact that these boys want her for something darker, a secret motivation that reveals more about herself than anything she's ever known. That's the book! Are you guys sold yet? Will you guys buy my book? Oh my gosh. So this is my book. That's basically this segment of the video explaining my debut novel. Why I want to publish this and why I want this to be my debut novel is a multifaceted question. I feel like a lot of people's sort of like debut novel is something that they feel really comfortable with sharing. This I'm actually not comfortable with sharing, but I feel like I need to. And I've said in a couple of my videos that if I don't publish this year, which is kind of crazy, I feel like I'm never going to publish it in my life. You know, that's kind of how I feel. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to my process and where I'm actually at with publishing. Okay, so as an update, of course, I've been editing. If you guys haven't been upkept on my Instagram, go follow me, _Ananu. I post lots on there, and also on my recent vlogs on my channel. I've been editing for a while, ever since the start of the year, and it's been quite a journey. I have in particular this video where I kind of share about my editing process and what I'm doing, but the first step of publishing, of course, is editing. And I still have a long way to go. I am pursuing the self-publishing route, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about that in the third point of the video. But yeah, ghostcide is coming eventually. Of course, I've made moves to actually print my book, and as soon as I got this book, I have been writing notes and everything, and going through that as I'm going through the actual book, like this. Another update is I actually have gotten an editor who reached out to me on Instagram, and I feel terrible because I'm like, I'm gonna get this to you, you know, in a few months. It's been a few months. Editing is hard. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is as soon as I finished my draft and self-edited as much as possible, which is also important, I reached out to an editor, I printed my physical book, I read my physical book, made notes, and then started on the last sort of drafts of my debut novel while editing through and looking at the feedback from my editor, whom of course I paid. In terms of beta readers, I've not got beta readers because nobody I know really wants to read my book. I mean, I have got, you know, Tiana and Ashley, 2 of my best writer friends, to read my book. As for like non-writers, non-readers, I don't know any non-writers and non-readers. Like, I don't have friends. Anyways, that's kind of been the vibe. The last thing that I've been doing is actually documenting my process on my Instagram and, you know, doing reels like this. And this. My book. This has been really important to actually get my audience excited about my novel, even, you know, as I'm editing and not actually finishing my book yet or working towards publishing. So that's been my priority and a little bit of an update on that. So since of course I'm going through self-publishing, I'm not worrying about querying my book or going on sub or anything like that because I don't have an agent. I'm my own agent basically. You guys have probably seen my querying vlog. If you haven't, I cry a lot in that vlog, and I tried to query this book for 3 years. Didn't work out, okay? Did not work out. Another thing I do want to say lastly before we move on to the third point of the video is how editing is a really weird process. I haven't really gone through editing to this extent before, like editing for publishing sort of thing. It's scary as heck. Like, truly, I am so scared that there's so many times I open my document and I'm like, this sucks. Who's gonna read this? This writing is so terrible, and it's So scary. But another thing that I've been learning is actually, if you guys didn't know, this used to be a novella. As you can see, this is like a novella thickness. Although it's a bigger book, I don't know why it printed like that. And I printed through Amazon Publishing, by the way. But anyways, what I was saying lastly is the fact that I've added so many words to this manuscript. It used to be, I think, 38,000 words. I'm only halfway through editing, a little bit more than halfway. And I am 47,000 words, 731. So 47k, which is crazy, so I'm adding a lot of words as I'm actually editing, so it's kind of like writing editing, which is crazy. So that means I'll maybe need a little bit more drafts to go before I pursue publishing. That is this part of the video. Let's move on to my thoughts on traditional publishing and self-publishing. My thoughts is very similar to that of the vision, again, as I mentioned before in the video, of spines. And yeah, just kind of how the market is so silly. The market demands things, and it is true, like customers have a buying power, you know, there's things that are popular for a reason, such as fantasy, but I just think the oversaturation of the market gets really frustrating sometimes, and it's really difficult to find a really genuine golden book. I felt that way when I read Pure an Essay by Susanna Clarke, actually. It was just that sort of like refreshing, weird, interesting book that stood out from the rest of the saturated market. And it's interesting because I love genres that don't fit in a genre, which is so difficult for writers like me who write books that don't fit in a genre, or at least a popular genre like that of romantasy. And you try to publish or self-publish your book, or traditional publish and go on query, and no one wants to represent you because your book is weird and probably won't sell. So the numbers game, the buyer market, and how everyone just wants smut now and fun little romantasy. Not to say that all romantasy books are terrible or shallow. I'm gonna get some hate for this, but just like that sort of, I need deeper books, and I want the market and the readers of the world to be literature lovers instead of just like smart lovers, you know what I mean? Like I see, no offense, like a lot of like white girls get into book reading just because of Colleen Hoover and Fourth Wing and all this stuff, but I don't see them reading, you know, Kafka or, you know, the classics or any sort of other books with substance. I know Lancely actually posted a reel recently. It's this one.
Never had been your collection. I make music that electrify 'em. You make music that pacify 'em.
And there was a little bit of backlash. I semi-agree with her, kind of not. I think there's lots of goodness in entertaining, and you know, you cannot really judge someone for reading a book just to kind of get the vibes and just to kind of like escape from reality. But I think literature is so much more than that, so diluting the market in that sort of sense is kind of frustrating when you want to write a book that really means something, you know what I mean? But no hate to those who just want to read a book or write a book that is just fun and games and lots of smut. I don't like those books very much. But all books, I think, objectively, you can find some sort of meaning in every book, so perhaps my argument's flawed, but that's just my view. In terms of the actual process of publishing, I think it's also very frustrating with, that's kind of like the play on effect of like that fast fashion of books where publishers will only buy books that are popular at the time. But that's not to say ghostcide is like Metamorphosis. Sorry, I'm just in my Kafka era right now, but it's still a book that isn't nothing. I don't know. Does anyone get what I mean? I hope you do. I know all your books mean something, so I'm very sure that you maybe understand what I mean. Anyways, with that done, let's get into some tips to self-publish and publishing your book, even if you go both routes. So let's get on to that part of the video. The first tip is that self-editing can only take you so far. I kind of alluded a little bit to this when I was talking about my process, but truly, like, self-editing, I thought I feel like a lot of, I mean, I did this, so I'm not blaming you, but as a very immature writer, I was just like, I'll just self-edit and publish. Some people do that, and it's okay. The importance of getting peer review is unmatched. Like, I truly haven't gotten that much peer review, but when I did with my editor for ghostcide, I learned so much. It was really hard to understand and take in that critique when you love something so much, and yeah, it's like writing, you don't have a mirror, you know what I mean? You don't have something checking you like how a coach would if you're a sprinter or something like that. So having someone to check your work and read it, and someone who doesn't know you, who gives you kind of bias feedback, which is fine, they're just encouraging. You know, editors don't want to take things out of your book, or they don't want to change it. They simply want to make it better. They want to enhance what you already have. I kind of think about it as makeup. I have weird metaphors for a lot of my stuff when I talk about writing, but makeup, like, you have your book as your face, but makeup really does enhance all your features and the beauty of your book. So a makeup artist doesn't cover your face, of course, it's still your face, but they just enhance it in a way that makes it more beautiful. Because when I thought of editing as like a young writer, I was like, they're gonna tear my stuff apart and say this should go there. Like, no, they're just commenting on what could be better. It's okay, Anna. It's okay. Number 2 is spending too much time on your story, both in it and out of it, can actually build a lot of hostility and a lot of doubt in your book. As I said in today's video, if I don't publish this book, like, I will not publish it ever. So in a sense, I need to spend this time with my book, but the more I spend with it, the more sort of, I don't know what it is. It's kind of like a, what's the word? Recklessness. No, not recklessness. Restlessness, I think. I'm supposed to be a writer. Obviously not. Yeah, just really restless. Like, I need to do this or else it will pass and I'll work on the next thing. You know what I mean? So, in a sense, sometimes you need to take breaks from your book. Sometimes you need to stick it out and deal with the self-critical thinking of your novel. And also with the knowledge that you will write better, and as you grow, just simply in time, you will get better as you write. And I share in a lot of my videos, especially my earlier videos, about when I kind of had this sort of revelation that the ideas you have will get better just inevitably. Like, you might think your book idea, like, just think about your book idea from when you started writing, you know, for example, honey honey, no, it was a good book, like, it's cute, but is it as good as your book idea right now? You know what I mean? So, like, think about where you will be in the future, because when you think of writers, like, I know this is, I'm not being ageist, okay, but a lot of writers are older. They have lots more time to live and learn and see what they really want to tell the world. A lot of my prior books are kind of shallow in a sense of, they just wanted to escape. They just wanted to go to a fantasy world and there's a cute main character. I mean, that's fine. Again, there's literal books published traditionally like that. But as I'm growing as a writer and actually appreciating it as an art, like, I met this guy the other day who was a poet, and the way we spoke to each other is insane. I love him so much, and I met him for like 2 hours barely, and we just had this connection, and he's made me really think about literature and poetry, because he's written a lot of essays on his Substack, and I've just been like in awe with what he's writing and how deep literature can be. So in a sense, as I'm growing and loving literature and writing and reading, the books that I'm actually creating have a clear purpose, and that clear purpose is a good idea. Third tip is to physically print your book. It's amazing to have it here and just to kind of like show off to everybody, but it's nice to have the physical book, especially getting it in the mail, especially for editing, and having this to read instead of always being on your computer is really good, because it's there. It's physically printed. Like, having the idea that it can always be edited is kind of toxic in a sense. So having and knowing that this is printed out is scary but necessary. I should print that on a t-shirt. Fourth tip is to plan your blurbs. To plan your blurbs and actually write your blurbs, write everything to do with publishing. I did this like when I got really excited, where I was just writing my acknowledgements, I was writing my blurb, I was writing my little tagline, I was planning on making this cover, I was doing everything, and it was so fun. So like, don't stop yourself from like practicing your author signature, you know what I mean? Like, it will happen, you will get your book published, don't worry, bestie. Especially excuse me, with this tip, learn how to pitch your book to people. I'm sure you've been in a situation where people ask about your book and you're like, it's a fantasy, it's a romance. But then you kind of like get tripped up knowing that you will explain somehow the book in reverse order because this happens to me all the time, and then I'm like, oh wait, they don't know that, so I should probably add that in, but it's like really awkward. So have a blurb like this and just recite it, or get to know your book in a way that you can just say it and match it and match it out a little bit, and just know your book really well and be very confident when you talk about your novel and make it sound really interesting, how you would pitch it to a publisher or pitch it to your future readers. I think it's really helpful, especially as you are writing your book, so you can actually cater the subjects and the content of your book to that vibe. You know what I mean? Because it's really helpful, truly. Like, I've started a new project and I've written the blurb to that project not knowing the plot, and it's helped so much. That's a good tip I should share in another video. Look at me go. Anyways, that is today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I've been talking too much in today's video. This is a lot longer than I thought. Thought it was gonna be a cute 10-minute video. It's not. But anyways, I love you all so much. I really wish you well with your publishing journey, wherever you are at. If you're just starting writing or whatever, I hope this video gave you some more context about my debut novel, and you enjoyed hearing some stuff about my book, and that you're maybe excited about my debut novel. Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be crazy? Follow me on Instagram if you want some updates or some ghostcide content, writing content. I make funny stuff on there. And yeah, definitely check out spines below in the description. You can start today and check them out. And thank you so much, Spines, for sponsoring today's video. Anyways, I love you all and I wish you luck in your books. Okay, bye everyone.